Hello to everyone, my name is Aref Kalantari. I'm a PhD student from the University Hospital of Cologne, and in this video I want to show you a very short tutorial of how to clone a data set with the help of the program DataladCloning. I will assume that you have installed the datalad and Git and that you have an account on Gin, but for this purpose an account isn't really necessary actually. So the main purpose or the main thing that you need is an installed datalad version, which requires Git, of course. And just to start, I have created here a project folder and a project 1, for example, and here is the place where I want to clone my project or the project of interest. To do that, I will go in my Gin account. Now this can of course be a Gin account of someone else also, and you also only have to find the repository of interest that you want to clone from. I have here this test data repository, and I will be using the HTTPS connection. I will copy it and then I will open a normal terminal, so I will do that again. You can just write here terminal, and it's now in German, but you can just open a normal terminal. And the next thing that I'm making it a little bit big here. The next thing you're going to do is that you want to go to this directory path. So I will copy it from here and I will paste it here, and before that I will use the cd command, which helps us to change the directory to the specific directory path. So now we are located at project 1, and the next thing that I want to do is we want to clone the dataset. So I will use the datalad command, and then I want to clone a dataset. The next thing I'm going to do is I copy this HTTPS link and I paste it here again. Now here comes a little trick. There are some problems with Gin that you cannot download with the HTTPS command correctly, and therefore we need to delete this .git here. This is only the case if we use the HTTPS connection. If we use the SSH connection, you have established the SSH connection, this is not a problem and you can let this .git stay. But in this case we delete that. Now we can press enter and it will start cloning this dataset. Now this shouldn't take long. An interesting point is that the dataset is about 8 gigabytes big, but it won't download the data just yet. That's the one interesting feature of the whole datalad story. Now you see here that it is updating all the files. What is it doing here? It is creating we see here now project 1, it is creating the dataset structure. And just an interesting point now, if we go here to a very specific file, for example here, we see that is only at 1 kilobyte, but in actual this is much bigger than just 1 kilobyte. So what DataladClone does, it only downloads the file folder structure, or the folder tree structure of the dataset. Or in other words, we call these placeholders. So they are the placeholders of the file, but they don't actually have the file contents. This is useful if we have actually data set of multiple terabytes and we just are interested in a couple of files. Then we don't need to download all of it because it would take some time to download it. Now, for example, we are only interested in this one. We can copy the link here again, and we use the datalad get command, and we paste here the location. I will here now it has the whole DTI folder, but that doesn't matter. I will do that now. This won't work because we are not yet in the datalad folder. Now I have stepped one pass further into the datalad dataset, and now I'm going to run this command again. Datalad get and paste. Now it should work. Now it is downloading the main file, that is, or the main folder, which now contains only this file, from our sibling, from the test data from the GIN website. This can take a little bit time depending on your internet connection, but it shouldn't be so long, and it has downloaded now. Now we can see we have here 15,000 kilobytes, and now we can open this file with the necessary tool. Now, what the other thing that I wanted to show you is we have now this project 1. We could do now a datalad get and then now run it. That would download all of the data if we don't specify anything. But we don't want to do that. The other thing that we want to do is, and that's an interesting feature of datalad, is the topic of datalad version control. So we want to talk about the history, or let's say the history of the data. And if we want to do that, we can just run here git log. This will show all of the history from the data set, but we only want to see, for example, the last 4 ones. So we use -4. Now we see the last commits, or the last changes that were done to this dataset. Now I won't go into some details here, for example, what the git annex adjusted branch. This is something very specific to Windows, but for example, this dataset was the outer. I've done it from the work PC. I've done it on the 20th of October. And what did I do? I removed a RAR file for a second time. Now, let's say I want to, so there was a RAR file here actually that contained some other data. What I want to do now, I want to revert back in time and see if that RAR file, what that RAR file had. Or I want to use some data and I made a mistake, I deleted it accidentally, but I can retrieve it again. How can we do that? We will do that with the help of datalad or git. We do git revert, and then we put here the commit that was done. So we want to revert it to that status. Remove RAR file for the second time. I will use only the 4 or the 5. We can type it 9D93FE, for example. You don't have to put all of that. This is the specification key for this change or this commit. And then if I run that, this opens up. This is not important. I won't go into the details, but we see that here a RAR file popped up. So this is This is the thing that was deleted, but it is still a placeholder, and it hasn't, the actual data isn't there. But what we can do is we can actually do again datalad get proc data rar, and it will start downloading this data from the sibling in Gin. Now, this was a very short introduction of what the capability of this datalad dataset is and how we can use it. Now, there are lots of other applications to it, but this is how we used it in our lab. You can push everything to Gin. Gin is a very huge space where you can save your imaging data, your code, and anything that you can think of, and it will be secured there. And the most interesting or the most important part, you have this history of the data. So with the datalad you can always go back in time to every timestamp that you made, and to revert or to go back in time and to check any of the old data that you had. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you have any questions, you can contact me via email. Thank you very much. Goodbye.